Hey, Jim here. So let's say you have an Azure VM and it's set up to use SSH authentication via keys, and you either lost your private key or it doesn't work or there's something messed up with the formatting and you just want to be able to reset it. Well, fortunately, that's a relatively easy thing to do. What I'm going to do is go into my Azure portal, click on virtual machines or search for it and find that object. And then you want to select your actual virtual machine that you want to reset your authentication for. So I'm going to go to my test machine, and this is currently configured for SSH via those keys, and I literally don't have my private key anymore. I deleted it as part of this demo. So to reset it, there's two different ways you can get to the reset option. If you scroll down near the bottom, you can find reset password, or you can search for password as well in the search box that's just below your virtual machine. And you'll see the password option filters out right down here. So by default, it's going to have the right option selected, the radio buttons under reset SSH public key. That is what I want. In this username field, you can either enter in your current Azure username for your virtual machine, or you can change it if you want at this time. Just enter in whatever you want it to be set to. I'm going to set mine to bitstudent. And this is where you'll put your new public key. So we need to generate a new key pair. And to do that, I'm in Kali Linux, and I'm going to go to the terminal, and I'm going to run a command. It's called SSH keygen. I'm going to run -t to signify I want to use the type of RSA, -b to signify I want to use 496 bits. And I always look to add a comment, so -c, and I'm going to make the comment. Usually I put my email address in here. I'm going to say Azure sec2 test VM, local username is bitstudent. Just so if I ever have any questions what this key is used for, right then and there, boom, it's going to be in the file for me to be able to view. And I'm going to call this Azure test instead of putting it into this file. I'm not going to do passphrase in this moment, but that would be a good thing to think about doing. And now I have my key. So as we can see, I'm going to put that two files just right here in my home directory. Because this is testing purpose, I'll show you my private and public key. The private key is the Azure test. And this is what you want to make sure that you hang on to and protect. If anybody gets a hold of this key, they're going to be able to SSH into your Azure VM. Especially because I didn't put any passphrase on here. You want to guard this thing. Anybody with it is going to have access. Then if I look at the public file, you'll see here is my nice little note. So if I'm ever wondering what this public key is for, it's pretty obvious. So I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. And this is what I want to supply in the Azure portal. And I'm going to say update. And it is currently resetting the key. And it still says updating, so I'm going to be patient. And if I look up here, this little bell under notifications, it's saying that it's still resetting the SSH key. All right, so it's been a few seconds and the SSH key is reset. And again, you're not going to want to try to access your server until this process finishes. So now I can go back to my VM, and I see I have an IP address here. So now within Kali, I'm going to try to connect. Now it may not work. I may need to change the permissions on my key, but we shall see. So SSH-I, and I'm going to signify the path to this key. So because this key is in the same directory as me, I could literally just do SSH-I Azure test, and that would work because I'm in the same directory. I could also specify the path using the little tilde, and that would work. Or if I wanted to specify it via the absolute file path, /home/Kali/Azure test. And I'm able to auto complete this by hitting the tab key. So if I start typing out my key name and it's not auto completing, that might mean that you misspelled your key name. And this is case sensitive, so be very careful that your key name and the full file path is accurate. So then I'll connect via bitstudent, which was the username I set on my VM, and now via that IP address that was provided via the Azure portal. Hit enter. It's going to say, are you sure you want to continue connecting? I'll say yes. And I am in, just like that. So if you get an error message about your private key being unprotected, if it looks something like this, this means you need to change the permissions on your key. So to do that, I'm going to exit off, and then I'm back in Kali. I'm going to run sudo chmod, and I'm going to say 0600, and then my key file. So I could just type in Azure test, or if you want to be safe, you could enter in the full file path. And in my case, it is /home/Kali/Azure test. And that will essentially fix any permission issues. And ta-da, I'm in on my server. So that's it for today's demo. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later.